end of September, the course is still open for you for 6 extra months. You could still access it for 6 extra months. Okay. So all good. You can see my screen. You can hear me properly. All good. Please let me know, and then I continue. Okay. So all good. You can see my screen. Your recording is available. Yeah. So a quick recap of what we started for CCNA3. OSPF. We did see that a router is a device that has a list of networks. These networks can be added manually, we call it static route, or automatically via dynamic routing protocols. What does it mean? It means, for example, these two routers, we're going to talk to each other and exchange information. If router one has some information router two doesn't have, we exchange and we update the routing table. So you can add manually, or router 2 will say, hey, these are the list of all network I know, take them. What you don't have, update in your system. And also, it's automatic. You don't need you as the network engineer to come and add anymore. So we say that OSPF is a dynamic routing protocol, and it falls in this. For dynamic routing protocols, you have exterior gateway protocol and interior gateway protocols. The exterior ones is used for internet service providers. Interior one is used for companies. But the most used is OSPF. We did see the two ways to configure OSPF. You can either use the network command or the interface command. Well done to patient Kabasale, who did very well. We also said that be careful of the wildcard mask. If you're using the network command, router OSPF, when you add the remote networks, it's no longer the subnet mask, it's the wildcard mask. Be careful of that. Wildcard mask, we did see that is the opposite of subnet mask. Okay. Router ID, what is router ID? Every router need an ID and to be identified, each router. So that when you have such topology, when a lot of routers are interconnected, we need to elect the big boss. The same thing for the switch, to elect the root bridge. And the router that has the highest router ID will become the DR, the designated router. He'll bring all information from internet and share with anyone else. Okay. Now, how to get the router ID? You can yourself manually configure it. Step number 1. You can yourself manually configure it if it's explained in the question. Or if in your question they say this is a loop back address, then you take the loop back address, the loop back interface. If it is none of these two, then on the router, the interface that has the highest IP address will become the router ID. So this one is quite important. You can check that quickly, 1 minute, and you continue. Okay, so we'll do some labs for all these things. So I'll send you the lab that you should be focusing on, so that on Thursday, we'll use that lab for revision chapter 1 and 2. I'll check which one is a single area OSPF configuration. Let me open this guy and see. Okay, while it's busy opening, and we can continue. your real IDs, Now, when you have a router, you see these two routers are going to talk to each other. So it's router to router. But you might have an interface that is not connected to a router, but a switch. An interface connected to a switch or a LAN. We call it a passive interface, P001, passive interface. So a passive interface is an interface that is not connected to a router, is not going to get involved in routing OSPF communications. So we call it passive interface, and this is how we configure. So you can check that. Guys, don't forget for the technical session, discuss between yourself, and when we meet, we do a lot of 7 hours. We go through all these things. So after the passive interface, a loopback address on a router is not a physical address, it's a logical address. It will never go down. It's only used for what? For troubleshootings. In case there is no way to log on the router, I can use the loopback interface to log on. It's like a normal interface, but it's logical. Another thing, when you have a lot of routers that are interconnected, you see like that, how to elect the big boss, the highest router ID. The second highest is called the backup, uh, designated router. And anyone else is called the DR other. DR other. For example, if I'm in router 2 and I want to view my neighbors, also in OSPF, before we start exchanging database information, we need to be neighbors. We need to talk each other to agree to exchange data. So if I'm on router 2 and I see who are my neighbors, it should show router 1 and router 3. And who are router 3? Who is router 3? Who is router 1? So let's check here. So BDR, I'm on router 2, and I tap show IP OSPF neighbors. It will show my neighbor for router 1 and router 3. With router 1, what is my relationship? I have full relationship, but it's DR other. It means it's not a DR, it's not a BDR. The other neighbor is this ID, the router 3. I have full agency with him. We are full neighbors. And if you're not full neighbors, you cannot exchange data. So you can see that there is something wrong. Why we're not talking to each other? You must make sure that it's fixed. Then this router is the DR. So this is also something that we'll be doing. Let's check the lab. Okay, this lab is quite nice. 2.7.1, we'll do that on Thursday. So please, from tonight, tomorrow and Thursday, try to check if you can do it a bit. 2.7.1. I'll post in the WhatsApp group. So I'll use that as a revision for chapter 1 and chapter 2. So now, when you have OSPF, you can force to change the rules. For example, if you want to go to America, the rule says you must get a visa, but you can change it. If I want, you see, in our example, router 1 is nothing. Is a simple employee because of the router ID is the lowest, so it's nothing. If I want to force R1 to become the big boss, the DR, that interface G000 facing anyone else, I set up the highest OSPF priority. If I come to that interface and I type IP OSPF priority, the highest number, automatically this guy will become the router, the DR, the big boss. This is an example down here. See, configure router OS priority. I'm on router 1. I go to that interface, G000. IP OSPF priority, the highest is 255. You can choose between 0 and 255. So if you do such thing, automatically R1 will become VDR. There is also something called the hello call, hello interval. Hello interval is what? The two routers need to talk each other by default, we need to communicate every 10 seconds. Hello, hello, are you there? Yes, I'm there. Okay, it's fine. Hello, hello, are you there? I'm there. So if router 1 send a hello to router 2, and after 40 seconds, it doesn't hear from router 2, you say router 2 is down, I don't need to send information to him. So the dead interval is 4 times the default hello. Right here. The dead interval is 4 times. So this is an example of configuration, but you can change it. You can force to become, instead of the 10, the default 10 seconds, you can put 5 seconds or 2 seconds. But the dead interval must be 4 times what you put. This is an example. You can also check that. Okay. The cost, routing protocol is a metric. Okay, this one you can read it straightforward. And how to configure, this is an example down here. You can just read straightforward, nothing special. Okay, we continue. So normally that's all for OSPF and what you need to know. So when you have two routers. So when you have an interface like on G000, what kind of configuration you can do there? You can configure the hello interval and dead interval, like here. It is we are configured at the interface level. Okay. What else you can configure? You can configure the priority. In case you want to force a router to become VDR, you can configure the IP OSPF priority at an interface. Like here. You can also check that. What else you can configure at interface? I did send you this file, so you have everything. You can also configure enable OSPF on that router. Remember, if I want to configure OSPF on a router, I can use either the network command or the interface command, IP OSPF. And you can also configure the cost. For the cost, yeah, this is an example. Yeah, so normally that's all for OSPF. There is also default route propagation. If I want to configure a default route is what? You come to me to look for information. I don't know. I say, you know what? Go to the administration building, we can help you there. Or go to the information desk, we can help you there. Me, I cannot help you. So the default route, you configure on a router, you add default route to originate, then that router will send the default route to all other routers automatically instead of going one by one, one by one, one by one. And this is an example. You can check. Okay, so we'll use that lab to go through all these on Thursday. So single OSPF configuration, we'll use that. We'll configure what is router ID, we'll activate OSPF via a network command or interface command. Uh, and yeah, anything, we're going to use that too. Then reference, because this one we don't use a lot, but in case we want you to adjust the bandwidth, if the link is 1 gig, this is the value of the, you just need to configure router OSPF 10 auto cost reference bandwidth. It will tell you 1 gig or 10 gig. Then if it tell you, yeah, normally you just need to use that command. That's all, nothing else. Let me check in that question if it's there. Okay, here's the cost. Here's the hello and deadline. Here's the cost again. Automatically distribute default route. And no, we didn't ask here. Yeah. But in case we ask, this is the comment. Router OSPF, process ID, auto cost, reference bandwidth. Yeah, so when you are done with everything and you want to verify OSPF, these are some comments you can use. So we'll use them to. Yeah, this lab is quite nice. We use a lot of stuff. Okay, that's all for chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 1 and 2 is about routing, the router. What is OSPF? And I'll send you some questions now. Please go through these questions and it will help you for revisions. Any questions before we close? So Thursday we'll do that. It will take a bit longer. Then any questions, guys? Any questions? General questions about what we did about OSPF or what? Okay, if no question, I'll post the recording tomorrow, and I'll also shortly send you in your WhatsApp lab number, and we meet on Thursday. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, and see you on Thursday.
Thank you, Mr. Wax. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.